All right, good evening. I'd like to call the November 15th, 2023, North Bend Planning Commission to order. It is 6:35. Sorry, we had a little technical difficulties. Otherwise, we'd start at 6:30 p.m. First, we're going to start with the commissioner roll call. Brian,
Present.
James,
Present.
Olivia, nope. Giuliano,
Present.
Hannah, and Susan, and Errol.
Present.
All right, so we have a quorum. And we're first gonna start off with public comment for non-agenda items. Like that over there. And when we have non-agenda items, what we wanna do is not have conversation between the commissioners and the public. The commissioners will listen and consider your comments. You get 3 minutes, and I'll call on you if you would like to speak. You guys like to speak? No. All right.
Also, we have Sandeep Saran online. Do you wish to speak on non-agenda items?
Is there any comments in the chat room or anything?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's like, I haven't done this in a while. Well, usually sometimes they raise their hand or something.
Yeah.
All right, so we opened the non-agenda items, public comment at 6:31, and we'll close it again at 6:31. I'm sorry, 36. Add 1 minute to when we started, so 6:36 p.m. for both start and close. Now, commissioners, we'd like to review our planning commission minutes from October 16th. Has anyone had a chance to look at them? Do you have any comments? Are there any changes? Everybody appears to be happy with them. Would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve minutes.
Do you have a second?
Wait a second.
All right, all in agreement?
Aye.
All right. All righty. We all passed it. All right. So this is where we go into our item number 4. At the October 16th meeting, we were introduced the economic development element for 2024 comp plan. I'm excited about this one because it really, I remember back in the 1970s when Boeing went, it kind of like stalled. They had to lay off a bunch of people. This whole area was just stagnant. It was horrible. And so it's so important to have a balanced economic base for our town, so we don't have to go through that again. So today we're going to review that. We've already reviewed it once. We're going to review it again, and then we'll also have a public hearing. First, we'll listen to James about it, and then the public will have a chance to talk about it if they want to, and then lastly, commissioners will talk about it. So James, you have the floor.
Great, well, thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. Nice to see you all again. I do remember those days back in the 70s. My dad was working at Boeing and managed to avert the layoff. So that was a big deal for our family because if he didn't lay off, I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a pain depression. I mean, as a little kid, I could feel it. It was so sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so one of those economic traumas I think a lot of us went through, and glad to come out on the other side. So
And just so you all know, it was only Boeing. There was no other
That
economic
was
base. It wasn't like we had all the tech businesses and stuff, so.
not much else here. Yes, so basically on October 18th, we introduced the economic development element as part of the comprehensive plan update that's going underway. It's the economic development update amendment is required under state statute in order to support the comprehensive plan. So as a part of that, the Economic Development Commission kind of predates me, but they went through a process to update the economic development element, largely by integrating the Economic Development Action Plan, which was approved by Council on June 6th of this year. So as that integration was put in place, they refined it and made some edits to it. And really, when you look at the economic development, it really sort of has 3 main components. One is statistics and data from 2010 to 2022, showing the growth of both the demographics and the economy here in North Bend, as well as some of the trends that we're seeing as this community continues to grow, including property tax, excess valuation, all those good things. basically, it's sort of demonstrating that we're on a sort of high growth trend line, I think, for North Bend and really for the rest of the region as well. The economic development element also incorporated an overview of strengths and weaknesses in North Bend's economy. This included both infrastructure to support commercial and residential development, and then the need for redevelopment to sort of catalyze certain areas of the city for residential and businesses. But it also kind of highlights some of the strengths and opportunities that the economy has, such as playing to our strength for outdoor recreation, innovation, and then also our proximity both to Seattle and along the interstate and corridor. And finally, the element also includes the goals and strategies from the Economic Development Action Plan. And these are really sort of meant to really kind of be our North Star in terms of what we want to achieve here in North Bend to really support our economic growth and sort of opportunity for everybody. So there's 4 objectives associated with that, 12 strategies, and each strategy includes both city and partner goals to help with implementation, timelines, suggested resources, and then also metrics to make sure our success as we implement those strategies down the road. So the Economic Development Commission approved a motion on September 26th to forward the element to the Planning Commission. And so, as I mentioned earlier, that element was introduced here in October of last month. And then we're here today to do a public hearing for the economic development element with the hope to get additional feedback and incorporation of public comments into the process. We did receive one written comment that was from the Snoqualmie tribe, and they provided some really very thoughtful comments to the element that I think really kind of strengthens it overall. You can see those additions from the tribe's comments in the draft element, the one that has the red line additions. Those incorporations you can see from the tribe were made in highlighted yellow. So if you look at the document, that's a way to kind of basically distinguish their remarks and their incorporation of the element versus just some changes and edits that were made to enhance the element overall. So that basically is a quick overview of how the element was put together, the public process, and the incorporation of the comments that we have received to date into the element.
Okay,
So thank you.
all right. So next we'll go to public comments. We'd like to consider any comments from the public regarding these proposed elements. And as a reminder, there'll be no dialogue between commissioners and the public. The commissioners are listening and considering your comments. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand or make a comment in the chat room. To keep the meeting orderly and efficient, I will call on you. Please state your name, your address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes. Is there anyone who'd like to speak? Anybody online like to speak? Okay, we opened it at 6:44 p.m. and closed that at 6:44 p.m. So next, commissioners, would you have any new thoughts? Would you like to talk about it? Do you have any questions on what we have here?
I mean, I appreciate the tribe's comments. I think that they work well with the document. And, it just looks like it fits well to incorporate them. So,
Great.
I think it'd be interesting to see the further discussion with the tribe about it, because, you know, I think on one hand, the comments of the tribe, I don't disagree with, they're incorporated, but it's almost kind of one-sided in that we're taking into consideration, you know, historical stuff and all those things. But we'd be remiss to say that they're building a massive project on their site, right? And so I think from an economic development plan, I'd like to see some conversation around the actual economic partnership of, we're gonna have 250 units up there, and how can we partner with our small businesses and then to have, you know, a mutually beneficial setup. I think the language they provided is fine, I don't think any issue with that, but we have plenty of small businesses that are 5 miles down the road. That, you know, somebody from Seattle goes to the casino for a couple nights for a show. How do we, are they open to the conversation? How do we get them to, you know, come on down for a pint and a beer or something, spend a few bucks in our town while also heading up there?
I think it's a great idea. Has anyone talked about that?
Yeah, actually, one of the other roles I have here at the city is I help oversee the Economic Development Commission. And since I arrived, it's not 8 week on the job, since I've been here basically, I did one-on-one meetings with the commissioners, to basically sort of understand, get, one, you get to know them better, but second was to understand what they think the economic development priorities are of the city. I mean, taking into account the Economic Development Action Plan, what other things they think are important. So across the board, with all the commissioners I met with, Errol, exactly what you're talking about. How can we better leverage the development that's going on up there to draw those customers into North Bend? So as part of the process, I made a presentation last week, I think it was, to the commission basically to kind of show some of their main points that they want to highlight and want to work on. I'm going to turn that into basically a work plan for 2024 for the commission. And one of the things we really want to look at is how we can improve signage from, say, up around the Snoqualmie Park area, up around the convention center that's going in to draw those tourists and just visitors downtown.
No, that's great, and obviously it should work both ways. Yeah, my understanding, our hotel is always gonna start demolition in a month or so, so somewhere around there, but that'll be in the plan, so I mean, something that we can discuss with incorporating kind of exit 31, I should say, coming in versus just having to take casino like as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we also talked about how we can better integrate basically signage into sort of the outlet mall areas as we draw more people.
Yeah, that's great. And I think Boy Scouts, they have, Eagle Scouts, they have projects and want to make signs and stuff, so I think that, and there's looks interesting along those lines. Yeah, that's awesome. I was looking at some of these numbers, and we've got a lot of property evaluation, like on page 16 and 17, and do we have any sort of sales numbers from sales tax, like in the different areas like downtown, the outlet mall, that kind of stuff? Do we have those kind of numbers anywhere, or is that?
I can, there's sales tax information, I think it's on page 6. North Bend regular optional sales tax distribution. It basically shows essentially sort of in aggregated form, the sales tax collected year over year. But are you asking for more sure
Like more,
where it's
like,
coming from?
yeah, from the locations, do we have that ability?
I think we do have that ability. I'd have to check with our finance director to see if we can.
Okay, I'm sure he's super busy right now.
Yeah, to parlay on that, I think what would be interesting, because I think at least for the planning portion that we've obviously been discussing for years, like, what areas can we activate, discuss rezoning, all that type of thing. It'd be interesting to see of the current commercial zones or industrial zones, what that tax base looks like currently, because undoubtedly there are some commercially zoned areas that we're not collecting anything on, because it's just an empty lot, or it's a drop
Right.
lot, with some actual sales.
I don't know if this wound up in the economic development action plan, but our previous economic development manager, Mark Knoll, I don't know if you guys recall.
Yes.
He had done an analysis of that by area. And what it showed is our downtown commercial zone is really our cash cow. Because what he did is he compared, I believe it was sales tax revenue. Against square acreage or square footage.
Yeah, that's a great.
And so when you look at that, downtown was just raking in the bucks.
Mhm.
And the outlet mall, which is really, it probably makes potentially just as much or more than the downtown,
Yeah,
was making probably similar numbers, but over a huge area.
Yeah.
So when you compare that square footage against that, it really showed the value of zoning to accommodate, greater commercial density.
and did it show any like projections of like unlocking the commercial truck down area, right? Like it currently has very little, if you went from a per acre analysis and said, if, developed appropriately within like our standards, what have you, we could unlock X based on the averages that we're seeing across the rest of the. Because I think that's when we get into discussions about whether it's Trucktown or other areas that are, largely, I would say, underdeveloped at this point, and some of the discussions the community get pushed back of like, do we need it, what's the value, like what are we getting out of it? And if it can be shown in terms of, well, we've got 30 acres here, and if we can unlock on average X dollars per acre, and we do this right, we can surplus of Y dollars across over X amount of years. I don't, you know, I think that helps explain, you know, whether it's a Starbucks or whatever's going on, Starbucks is going in down there, like those type of conversations I have within the community that, you know, get contentious of what are we doing, why do we need that? Cause there's a real story behind this number.
So that's one question I had.
So I guess for a follow-up from that, are you looking for something greater in that?
No, not in this document, I'm just saying for other, you know, I don't.
Is that analysis from, is that available?
It's somewhere, I don't know, I don't recall what document it's in.
Yeah. If you guys run into it, that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, that was my note. How much income does North Bend receive from Trucktown? Sales and property tax. That was my- And, because that would be helpful, trying to, and I love all the metrics in here, you know.
Well, yeah, I was saying that one of the metrics, that's in the element that's been incorporated from the plan, is looking, this one is specifically looking at property tax driven by geographic area.
Right.
Type, but we could easily modify it to look at also sales tax receipts per acre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that we need to put that in this document, or just like, maybe in the future they need to do this? What are your thoughts?
And I think it's probably worth it to put in the document if it's gonna be part of the discussion of us maybe pushing forward. in that direction.
Well, this is a policy document, so if there's direction that you want the city to take in terms of analyzing things or making decisions, this is where you want to have that. So you
I
could
think there
provide-
may be value. I think what happens is when going back to the conversation, like we end up having a serious conversation about a rezone or even an annexation, what value does that bring and what zone should that count? Having at least the data there
That
to
would
be
be
considered,
the decision
I think
maker.
would be helpful for planning, council, anybody when they can take that into consideration.
Okay,
So sales tax per acre.
Yeah, sales tax per acre, yeah. I think that makes sense.
Well, and sales tax by region.
yeah, and the, like, for the, like you have for the property
For
tax.
each region.
Yeah, for each of those regions.
For each, like, commercial region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chucktown and Outlet Mall and downtown area.
Okay. Okay.
I think, I mean, it could probably be deciphered by that, but like when we say region, is the, maybe it's,
Settings and structure.
yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is, is the zoning consistent within each region, or is it part commercial, part employment, part industrial? Because I think that matters too.
Yeah.
Because like if our downtown is, you know, retail, commercial, but, you know, that's a good comparison, because Outlet Mall is formula retail or retail commercial as well, but it's showing a much smaller spread across the acreages. So if we're looking at per region and there's a different zoning spread in the region, I think it'd be interesting to be able to see the differential within that region. If it's all, you know, obviously it's all retail, or all commercial and employment.
Yeah, it's not really, not across, at least with these ones, there are different zones within those districts.
As we move forward with the comprehensive plan, maybe we should consider having neighborhoods, you know, different areas of the city actually called, you know, different villages of the city kind of thing to aid in that effect.
Yeah,
Like
so
for the property tax part.
I think that's what we're essentially talking about is,
It's
half of page 17, we have a table at the top.
Right, the problem is, the concept of over shopping district is two different zones.
Okay.
So that might need to be broken out differently.
That's true. But we could just refer back to these districts, basically,
Right.
and sort of do that comparison there.
Yeah, I guess, and then I guess what I was like hoping to get to with that analysis would be, like if a zone is overinflated in their gross receipts, right, like it's coming from 5 acres of the 15 acres because it's a highly concentrated, like that would be good to know, right, like they were not recovering a ton on this side. So also like if that property is, I think it's also kind of like a placeholder, right, if that property in the trays, if we get a new development proposal or something, we can go back and say, well, this would be great, because we only received X dollars from this property for so many years, and now somebody else is coming to do this, that would, you know,
Makes sense.
but you were saying property tax per borough. Per boroughs,
Right, I mean, it doesn't be, there's a lot of different names you can use, but it might help in, because we do have a lot of areas that the zone is not perfectly laid out, you know,
Delineate,
so.
yeah.
Right, like it does depend on what area you're talking about and how well it works, so. So it could be useful in the future to consider doing that in different areas of the city, saying, hey, here's this neighborhood and here's this neighborhood. And I mean, not just an actual neighborhood, but a bigger area that we're addressing.
Right.
But we're not quite at that point with the comprehensive plan, so. Something
I
to
think that
consider
probably
down the
makes
road.
sense, like where we're at, and way through, like there's some industrial zoning there, but then if there was a request to rezone. Then the planning and council could take into account the neighborhood property tax bases along with the demographic and say, well, rezone towards retail here makes a ton of sense, because we've got 1,000 homes, a lot of families, coffee shop here or something, retail would be great. Right, I think that, once again, just kind of triangulates to, that's a good decision for council to make because it will add value to the community.
Right.
Yeah.
Like whether it's the downtown district or the Tanner district or the side view, you know, like there's a bunch of people.
So to that, the question would be, do we have policies in the economic development element that call us to consider the economic impacts of rezones when evaluating rezoning? So that could be something that we look through. I don't know myself, but we could look through to see if we have a policy like that. That could be a recommendation that you want to provide. It's not there.
But I don't, at least what Hannah's saying, I don't think it's not clear that it would apply based on taking into consideration of actual individual properties, right? I think it takes into account North Bend as a whole, but to delineate like in the specific property region or whatever we're calling it.
Right.
Right, because there may be a reason on one end, like I was saying, my example, like Tanner makes a lot of sense, but maybe on another section of town, maybe not so much sense.
Mhm.
What do you think, James?
Well, I mean, there's not, I mean, kind of read through this a couple times and read through it again. I don't see anything that sort of stands out in terms of like running an economic impact analysis or data to, you know, determine whether or not it should be rezoned a certain way or not. Mike, do you think it belongs in this, in the economic development element, or do you think it belongs in some other part of the comp plan?
It should be here, I guess, anywhere, because I mean, it touches on land use element too, so.
No, that's true.
So it's like, maybe it's like, just to follow what you're thinking, Mike, like a scenario of a rezone and council's contemplating it, and if this says, you know, council should, we recommend council does take into account the property values of the surrounding area, it would help direct them to consider that, which is
Yeah.
arbitrarily saying that may not fit there, but not actually having the analysis to say that.
It might make more sense in the land use element, because that's the element that governs zoning. So when you're making decisions about zoning, that you may not jump to the economic development element of the policies, so
Right.
maybe it's better suited there.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, okay, how many teeth do we want this to have? And if we want a lot of teeth, is it the most appropriate place? But
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, and just like in my professional experience, it's really hard to have them be like mutually exclusive, like they are hand in hand very much.
Yeah, sure.
And I think for me, I would like to provide a larger breadth of rezoning opportunities for a potential development if there is an opportunity. Like, we don't have a lot of land in North Bend, right? And if there's somebody who wants to come in and make an investment in our town and do something really special, but the zoning doesn't align with it, I think council should be able to take into consideration the economic impact of that and say, yeah, we will go ahead and flip this zoning. We think it's for the better, you know, the community. We're looking at the analysis, the numbers show that as well. I mean, because we're just such a small footprint, there's only so many acres to have that, you know, and I would hate to have council be, you know, I guess hamstrung to say, you know, opportunity to make that decision that could be great for the town, but we don't have the opportunity to say do that.
Let's take a moment of silence to think about it down.
all of it, we're
We're getting recorded, right? It's a recording.
That's true.
Yeah, no, the report's fantastic.
I think you can say it, I think this is my favorite report of all the ones that we've been reading.
This one?
Yeah. I like the metrics.
Favorite is not generally, yeah, too, I use it for reports, but it's a nice one.
Okay. So I kind of jotted this down. Basically, an economic impact analysis based on sales and property tax. Sales and property tax estimates to understand the cost benefit analysis of the proposed rezone.
Yeah, and then I think to couple with what Hannah was saying, like base it a specific region or maybe like provide like a radius of the subject set or something like.
Yeah, I think we captured that in a separate comment, in another comment, like sales tax rate acre for each district.
Oh, okay.
And what I did is I made a notation to reference the districts that were in this graph here.
Yeah, okay.
That's it.
Does anybody else have anything else they want to add?
Is this actually chapter 10 or is the X in chapter X a reference to something?
It's for Twitter, right? Chapter Twitter.
Well, I just want to make sure it's on a placeholder for the actual chapter.
I think chapter X is whatever chapter it calls.
Okay, so, do you want to make a recommendation or a?
Yeah, so in the staff report that was put together, basically we made a recommendation for the planning commission to forward this economic development to the community and economic development committee for them to review, and then they concur with basically approval of the economic development commission and the planning commission to move to full council to be ready to the comp plan. Most likely next year, sometime 2024.
So we have, page 4 of our packet is where the planning and commission recommendation statement is. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion based on the findings above and public comments received and planning commission. Recommends approval of the proposed update to the economic development element of the comprehensive plan attaches into A.
And including the changes we made today? Is there a second?
Second.
All aboard? What's the word? All in agreement?
All in favor?
All in favor, thank you.
Aye.
All right, it's 100% approval on that. Okay, is there anything else we need to discuss today?
No.
No? All right. I will remind everybody this Friday is the commissioners, dinner.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Appreciation dinner.
Yeah, and we're gonna do that as a, we have a liquor license to be able to have alcohol, but we're not giving a known spot. So if you wanna bring something to enjoy yourself or to share, I've got a couple bottles of wine.
I got plenty of wine. I have so much wine, I can't wait to get rid of it. I keep on getting more and I don't drink it. I'm just like, all right, this is great. So, at this point, we'll conclude this meeting. And, I want to thank everybody for tonight's meeting and we'll adjourn at 7:05.
Great, thank you all very much for your attention and time.
Do we have any other meeting this year?
Yes, we potentially have a meeting on, December 6th.
Yeah.
And, we are. Stop recording.
Let's try and stop recording.
They don't give me the option to pause recording.
Oh, really?